So the man that broke into Bun B's house was just sentenced to 40 years. There is footage of Bun B taking a stand, and people had a lot to say about it. So we're going to get to that in a moment. But first, what I need you to do is put a like on the video. Let's get into it.
She can't communicate. And I get so angry all again because she didn't deserve it. She didn't ask for this. She didn't ask for this. The next morning, she got out of bed and went down to the kitchen, and I heard her scream, and I went down to see what was wrong, and she had her back turned, and she was crying, and I was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? She was like, I can't. She was just shaking furiously. I can't. I was like, well, you can't. She's like, I can't look at those stairs. And it was from that point where we realized like she couldn't even be in that house anymore.
And has it been hard and caused some strain in our relationship?
It is because, there are times where she gets closed off.
On Thursday, Bun B, whose real name is Bernard Freeman, spoke for the first time from the witness stand about what happened. He testified for 20 minutes, explaining to the court how that violent attempted robbery still affects his life. During Bun B's testimony, he noted that Queenie, his wife, had dealt with anxiety before and had just finished therapy when the home invasion happened. That day, Bun B's wife thought she had an Amazon delivery, but instead Jackson, who was wearing a mask, was at the door with a gun. He forced his way inside, held her at gunpoint, and then went to the garage in an attempt to steal the car. Bun B was on the second floor of their home at the time, and he heard his wife screaming, just take the car, just take the car. The rapper said he ran downstairs with his gun, shot and wrestled with Jackson, who was later found wounded at the hospital and arrested later on. Bun B said Thursday he had never heard that kind of terror in his wife's voice in the 20 plus years that they had been married. Bun B got emotional on the stand as he recalled that night. He told the court his wife didn't deserve the trauma Jackson caused and that he felt the need to go after Jackson with a weapon. So let me just get this part out the way. I have no problem with this. I actually think he did the right thing. You were supposed to protect your family. As far as taking a stand, if that's what it took to get dude convicted, that's cool. 40 years may be a bit excessive. 20 would have been more like it. 15 maybe. 40, yeah, it's a bit excessive for nobody to actually be hurt except him. But at the end of the day, it's a home invasion. So I'm not mad at it either. All of that being said, once you get that out the way and you look on the internet, I see a big discussion going on as far as did he snitch? That is a discussion on multiple social media platforms, on multiple pages, etc., etc. So we're going to unpack that a little bit today and look at some of the things people are saying, and I'll give my feedback on that. And the reason this is happening is because Bun B is a legendary gangster rapper. He's not a guy who was a lyrical miracle just rapping about all types of stuff. The majority of the subject matter was street related. So that's how come this happens. Even though he's 50 years old, even though he hasn't been rapping really active for a long time, people still hold him to a certain standard. All of these takes are from academics' comments. Somebody Glazer says, I'm from Houston and Bun B should be ashamed of himself. He himself promoted this type of in songs. For him to see a 20-year-old doing some of the things he talked about doing when he was at that age, and instead of showing empathy, being from that situation himself, he decides to double down and show little to any understanding of what that young man was going through. Now he'll never have a chance again to do better thanks to your statement. So he basically tried to hold him accountable with that. But the next comment says, UGK Kick Door was and still is one of my favorite songs. I guess we don't like it when someone do it to us. Now, being that somebody mentioned a specific song, I had to go and look up the lyrics to see exactly what he was talking about. Now, the song is actually a kick dough. which is spelled very weird. It's off a C Murder album, and it features UGK. So the lines that stand out to me are around the end of the verse. It says, "We hold you hostage in your own apartment complex. Nigga, I can see you got plex." And we'll just skip to the last two bars. "The fear in your eyes, I see that. Bitch, where the keys and the G's at?" So basically, he's rapping about kicking in a drug dealer's door, holding him hostage, and taking his drugs and money, which is, basically the robber role in street life. But let's continue. Another individual says, "I don't want to hear nobody talking about snitching. This man is 50 and hasn't been involved in the streets in 20 years. A guy says, "Call me old fashioned, but once a dude cry on the stand, I'm not listening to their music anymore." Somebody else responds to that and says, "Be for real, you wasn't listening to UGK or Bun B anyway. Respect to Bun B, but he's a business owner now." A woman says, "Y'all can try and change the definition of snitching all you want, but you can only snitch if you were a part of the crime and then told on everyone else. Victims and witnesses are not snitches." So I'm gonna stop this right here, man, because I've had debates and discussions with real street dudes for real, and it always varies depending on who you're talking to. And I'll just say it like this, the definition of snitching when it comes to civilians, if you tell on somebody, to some people, it's snitching. It don't matter if you're a criminal or not. If you take the stand, you a snitch. So you could be a civilian, you could just be a nigga in the hood, you considered a snitch. There's actually a legendary video from back when they used to have DVDs and videotapes where a chick in like Oakland or something like that had told on somebody in the neighborhood, a drug dealer, got him sent to jail. And the whole neighborhood jumped her so savagely, you would have thought she died. I don't think she died, but she got pulled out of a car and stuff like that, beat. But then you have cases like this, where some people saying, even if you look at the 21 Savage skit, with Morgan Freeman on his album and stuff like that, the one with Metro Boomin, he pretty much laid it out that, if you are a civilian and you tell on somebody and you have nothing to do with the crime at all, like they were just sloppy. You're not held accountable at all. You're not a snitch. You're not nothing. You're just a civilian. That's all you are. So some people have that definition. Some people, they don't care. Now, I'm going to tell you the real truth about this. You ready? You ready? The truth is, and this is in the hood, niggas pick and choose. That's what it is. If a street nigga is really loved by his community and he gets put in jail and it's because of a civilian testimony, they're going to be mad at that civilian. That's what it is. But even then, on the flip side, if somebody that is truly loved by the community, and this is just so fucking real, I'm telling you, this is so real, especially if they love by the streets, like truly loved and shit like that, and they get on the stand and they tell and shit, a lot of people, especially if they get a lot of money and stuff like that, a lot of people are going to turn a blind eye to it. They're going to accept him. He's still going to be cool. He could still move how he want to move. Or if he's feared, if he is really feared, nobody is going to apply no pressure to him or nothing. So that's really how that shit really works. Another set of comments: rappers, when they promote violence until it happens to them, and it has a semicolon basically showing this is an example of that. Respect the Trill OG, but this was definitely snitching, says another comment. And one surprising comment from Fat Trail, an actual rapper that is in the industry to some extent, from the DMV. He says, "I feel for Pimp C," frowny face emoji. "He wouldn't approve of this." In another set of comments we have, "Calling this snitching is insanity." Another comment from a verified account that says, "Steady making plays." And boy, when I read this, it's like the bad grammar. I can bet he is actually a real street nigga just from the bad grammar. He says, "They moved the goalposts for people. You ain't supposed to take no stand. Years ago, shit over. Your people made it out safely." Please, if you understand that, like, convey that to me with some punctuation and shit like that. Somebody said, is it snitching or nah? Guy said it's definitely snitching. We not picking and choosing around here or because he an OG. I just want to say, man, when it comes to that whole shit, like I see a lot of people, talk about taking the stand. If you take the stand for anything, for any reason, you a snitch. I just seen Wag just did that to Loose Cannon on No Jumper. For taking the stand, even though a nigga asked him to take the stand to help him in his case, he took the stand to help the other criminal. To help the other criminal. And him taking the stand, they consider that snitching. Crazy. It's like, dude, this shit is crazy, bro. Now, the last set of comments is in response to this comment. A man says, Bun B never talked about killing nobody. WTF. Y'all just type anything in the comments because y'all got fingers. Somebody says, Bun B has been rapping about murder since I first heard him on Tell Me Something Good in 1992. Hell, one of his most famous verses is from their song Murder. Having that said, I don't care that he cried on the stand. He's a 50-year-old business owner. Somebody said you still got time to delete this so you don't listen to UGK. You must have never heard a UGK song before. He damn sure did. Do you even listen to Bun? He talked about kicking in doors and all type of shit. So they basically said that comment is bullshit. His catalog is full of murderous raps. So with all that being said, I personally don't care if it's snitching or not. Like I said, he did the right thing, man. He protected his house. That's the first thing, man. The other thing is this dude shouldn't have did that crime in the first place. And then the other thing is, as far as, him taking a stand and stuff like that, if that's what it took to secure conviction, do that. That's what it is. I'm not mad at that. But what y'all look at is the fact that he is a gangster rapper and he has profited off of rapping gangster shit for however many years. And this is the part where you get attached. Some of these dudes are street dudes in the comments, or some of y'all just really be like caring about like just this whole street shit and ain't got nothing to do with the streets, which is crazy. But as far as the street dudes, it's like what you got to understand is something I understood a long time ago, man. These dudes is actors, man. When it come to somebody like Michael Franzese and Sammy the Bull and how they was going at each other about, them snitching and calling each other rats and stuff like that and et cetera, and they got to live with them labels or whatever. Those are guys who were not entertainers. They were actual mobsters. They were actually gangsters. Like, they didn't have another claim to fame. Like, they didn't oh, he was an athlete. No, they were actual gangsters. What Bun B is a gangster rapper. He is an entertainer. He is an entertainer. So he's getting paid tens of thousands back in the 90s and the 2000s to go and perform and to also feature on different records talking this gangster shit. He's not in the streets kicking in doors and all that stuff. We don't know what he was doing before rap. But this is the thing, man. And I get it because now we have people like, NBA Youngboy and what's his name? Tay-K and all of these rappers and stuff like that who really be in the streets, Little Durk and stuff like that, who like really was in the streets for real and really come from some treacherous areas and really still be around active gangsters, really still be getting caught up and sent to jail. Put King Von in there too, rest in peace. But yeah, so now that we have this generation of super hyper realistic gangster rappers, and the whole time it's like you're supposed to be really a gangster and stuff like that. People think that this standard should be lived up to and stuff like that. I listen to this stuff. It's cool for entertainment, but at the end of the day, man, what we really want in real life, what I would say is we want the crime to stop as far as the civilians. If you live anywhere around this shit, if you are capable of falling victim to any of this shit, because if you are somebody who lives in the sticks and you're not in proximity and no urban niggas and no gangsterism, then this shit is just purely science fiction to you. But if you live in a urban area with a lot of black people, you're gonna be dealing with some gangster shit. And I'm not gonna lie, man, the shit is cool in the raps and shit like that. It's fucking horrible when you have to deal with some of these people in real life, even if it's just casual, because like, and we not talking about your cousin and shit. And even then, some of you niggas like y'all love that shit. Yeah, like some of these niggas like they be so problematic, and then if you get back at them and stuff like that, they don't want to fight, they want to shoot. It'd be, oh, and then you just minding your business and they want to rob you to get some clout and shit. It just get annoying, bro. Oh, you in your crib and you got to duck down because niggas is having a shootout 2 houses down from you, and you know some of the bullets might hit your house. You don't even know. You just worry for your life. You got to get your kid. Like, all of that shit is terrorizing to our community. So I don't support none of the actual gangsterisms. Barely support the gangster rappers for real. Like, really, that shit is fucking up the community. But I'm off my high horse, man. Let me know your thoughts on Bun B snitching. I really do, like, whether it's snitching or not, I personally don't give a fuck. But let me know your thoughts. I'm out.